Today we're going to be bottling or canning our tomatoes that we grew last summer. We placed all of our tomatoes in the freezer because that makes it so much easier to take the skin off the tomatoes before we process them.
Go ahead.
First thing we have to do is put the frozen tomatoes in hot water, and we just use the hot water from the tap. We don't have to boil it or heat it up on the stove or anything. We just take the water directly from our tap. And my wife is actually pulling the skins off. They come off really easy and fast. So yeah, they're just in hot water. See that? It only took a few seconds. Now some are easier than others, but most come off really, really quick. Dell's much better at this than I am. She does this every year. I usually just get in the way. These are the bottles. Now one time when I first started canning, I would always put my bottles in steaming water and let them boil for 10 or 15 minutes. That's just too much work. So now all I do to sterilize these guys, even though you don't really have to be that fussy about sterilizing them, because what I'm actually going to do today, once our tomatoes are all processed, they'll be going in the bottles and going into my pressure canner. Now you don't have to pressure can tomatoes because they're acidy. But what we always do, though, is every year when we do our tomatoes, we do add lemon juice, just to give it that little bit more acid, to make it a little bit more safe. So what I normally do is these bottles, I will take them and I will put them in the oven for 20 minutes on 200 or 250, just to sterilize, make sure there's no germs or anything left on the bottles, so that when we're ready to put the tomato sauce in, the bottles are still fairly hot, because our tomato sauce is going to be hot when we're putting in the bottles. And the last thing you want to do is add ice cold bottles and putting a hot liquid in it. It could cause the bottle to break. So we don't want to do that. So yeah, it's been about 3.5 hours now since we started cooking the tomatoes. I'm going to bring you guys over so you can have a look. It's just about there now, because we don't make our tomato sauce really thick, because we cook it again when we're ready to use it, once we take it out of the bottles, like we had what we want to it. Because now we don't really add anything to our tomato sauce. Our tomato sauce is just tomatoes. No salt, no nothing. The only thing we put into it is some lemon juice, just to add a little bit more acidity to it. So yeah, here it is down here now. It's boiling away really well. It's getting a little bit thicker at the moment. We've boiled it down to half of what it used to be. Well, I'll show you guys how I managed to... this is how I mix my tomatoes and makes them nice and smooth, so you don't have lots of pulp in there. I use a hand blender. So I've done that quite a number of times today, just to make sure it gets, so you can see it's becoming fairly thick now. Spaghetti sauce is all done. It's cooked down as much as we like it to be cooked. The bottles are all heated up and sterilized. Put the bottles on a double dishcloth so that it's nice and thick, because the last thing you want is to put a cold bottle on, or a hot bottle on a cold counter. Alright, so that's our bottles. This is our spaghetti sauce. I'm going to give it one last spin with the blender. go. I was just double checking to make sure there was nothing on the rims of the bottles, because I don't want to end up with a bad seal. This would be considered open mouth canning, which I could leave them right now and they would probably be fine, perfectly fine. Wouldn't have any problems, but I like to do that one little bit of an extra step, just so that I'm sure that all the bacteria and everything that's, if anything got around the lids or on the bottle or when I was putting it in, gets killed, so it gets more sterilized. I'm just going to use my pressure cooker. I'm just going to use it as a steamer, just the same. Now, what I'm going to do is I got to get some hot water running out of the tap, because that's what I'm going to put in there, is hot water. Now, I'm not using this as a pressure canner tonight. This is just going to be used as a steamer. That one don't belong down there. Now, I usually put about 2 to 3 inches of water in the bottom, along with a little bit of vinegar, because I don't like to have that white film over my, this one's not opened. What's that one that's open down there? Nope, I must have used it all. That just keeps the bottles nice and clean. Okay, so I'll bring you guys over so you can actually see right down inside the pressure canner. There's my pressure canner. It's got about 2 inches in there right now. Put in about another inch or so. Okay, that's plenty. Now my pressure canner is big enough that I can put in 2 rows of 500 milliliter bottles, which I'm going to need to today. How many have I got in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. This is the second racks that I bought when I bought my pressure canner, because I knew I would be doing always more than just, one layer. That's pretty much it. That's how you put them in. I'm not sure how well you guys can see this. Come in as close as I can, but that is steaming full speed now. So from this point, it's 20 minutes, and then it's done. So yeah, my bottle's been in the canner now for 20 minutes. Well, they've actually been steaming for 20 minutes, and they've been sitting with the heat turned off for about 10 to 15 minutes now, just enough to let it cool down a bit. So when I take the lid off, it didn't just go boof. So I'm going to put them in the sink, because it's just easier to deal with them when they're down lower. So what I'm going to do now is just take the lid. Now it's not going to pop because there's no pressure in there, but you still have to be careful, because when you lift the lid off, you're still going to get a lot of steam. So always lift the lid away from you. I opened the window so that it would go out the window. So yeah, it looks pretty good in there. I'm just giving it a quick check to make sure these lids are on tight right now. Because I don't put them on very tight when I first start to steam. I like to do that after it's taken out. So, that's it. We're all done. So we got 13 bottles of tomato sauce for this winter. Not as much as we would have liked. We thought we had more tomatoes put away, but I guess it is what it is.